And for more, we're now being joined by Dr. Peter Kuznick from Tokyo. He's a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. Thank you so much, Professor Kuznick, for joining us on the broadcast.
A pleasure.
Professor Kuznick, now Israeli government says that all parties have agreed to the first phase of a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal, but we know that a lot of contingencies still remain and navigating them would be a task. Do you think it's a real breakthrough, or is there still reason to tread with caution going forward?
We have to be cautious, but it is at least a positive first step in the right direction. But as you're suggesting, the difficult issues still need to be worked out. What they've agreed on is the easy part, although even this has been difficult to achieve. But compared to dealing with the issues of disarming Hamas, of who's going to run the government in the future, of rebuilding Gaza, of feeding the children and the other starving people there, the big questions are still ahead of us. So we shouldn't start celebrating in the streets. We should be happy that there's at least a first step, but the rest we have to be cautious because there are very, very difficult issues to be resolved that have not begun to be addressed yet.
Absolutely, and it's, of course, is to say that, of course, it is positive. Also, there happens to be reports about 200 U.S. troops who will be sent to monitor this. Is that sort of a look into how international security force will come to play?
Well, there's going to be troops from a lot of different countries there. The U.S. is not so much sending troops on the ground as experts who are going to help with implementing some of these changes. But at the same time this is happening, we're seeing reports that the UN international peacekeeping forces are going to be slashed by 25%, largely because the U.S. is cutting funding. So we've got contradictory messages, as we've had all along with what's going on. We look at Trump's role, for example. It's great that he put pressure on Israel and Hamas to come to this agreement. But he could have done this any time in the past 8 months since he's been in office, and he's neglected to do so. He's provided the arms, he's provided the funding that made this genocide possible. So yeah, he wants to take credit. He wants to get his Nobel Peace Prize. But the reality is he's got so much blood on his hand for what the United States has been doing for the past 8-9 months that this is a small step in the right direction and needs to be applauded. But this is something that should have been achieved months and months ago before so many tens of thousands of Palestinians and some Israelis were killed in the process. So it's something to celebrate, but we should keep this in proportion and understand Trump's role positive and mostly horribly negative in this regard.
Well, of course, we still have to be hopeful regarding that, and you're nowhere wrong there to say that. Also about the post-Gaza war plans, considering Hamas will be, of course, President Trump has said that the hostages will be released on Monday. When it comes to the role of Hamas, once the hostages are, of course, released, what kind of role will Hamas be playing? Of course, that's somehow in the limbo, but how do you see it? As President Trump has said on Thursday that disarmament will be part of the second phase.
Yes, and there's no agreement yet on what that's going to look like. Most of the Palestinians and a lot of other Gulf Arabs don't trust Israel at all. We see the role that Netanyahu's been playing in all of this. While some of the right-wing forces in his cabinet have gone along with this first phase of the agreement, others have not. So his cabinet is potentially in a tenuous situation. There's no guarantee that the Netanyahu government will last or that Netanyahu will follow through. I mean, has not been a trustworthy partner. And we don't know that Hamas is going to be a trustworthy partner. It's a region in which there are a lot of bad guys and very few good guys right now. But what changed the dynamic was the Israeli bombing of Hamas officials in Qatar, in Doha. That really changed the dynamic and gave Trump some more leverage, along with the pressure from the other Gulf Arab states, to try to at least get this first phase of agreement. But there's so little trust between the different sides here that, again, there's no guarantee that this will hold going forward. It's more positive than negative at the moment. So we have to have something to build on, and at least that's beginning to take shape.
True. Well, of course, we'll be looking forward and have a hopeful thought about this going going smoothly. But thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving your perspective.
Thank you. My pleasure.